Hi, it's me, Michael, from Video Pencil. I thought it might be interesting to show you how I fix a bug based on your feedback. Especially after yesterday, I put a video which was like half an hour of me rambling on about networking protocols and like video codecs and compression and things like that. And some people actually watched it. I thought, hey, can I just nerd out and make videos about stuff? So I thought I'd just show you, we'll just go from start to finish how this all works, I suppose. Yeah, so it starts with a bug report. So the bug in particular today is I tried to load an image from files or from my media library and it just didn't show up in Video Pencil. Something like that, I'm able to say, okay, can you send me that? Because I know that I can load loads of images and it usually works for me and I haven't seen this problem. So I asked, well, it was Jim, who's a sort of early influence on this app. So I asked him to send me a file that wasn't working. And now today I am getting round to working on it. But the first thing I always do is I go through my inbox. If there's any requests in there, if there's any bug reports, I will put that in my to-do list, which looks like, if we can switch to desktop, is it going to be the right screen? Yes, it is. If we have a look, I've got my I should do list, and each time I get an email, I will add something into my to-do list, and I'll put a link back. I'll add it to my to-do list, and then I'll put a link back from my to-do list to that email. I'll archive the email in my inbox, and then I'll sort of get to it when I get to it. And this is me getting to it after, when did he send it? 8 days ago. I've been working on some other stuff, so I need to sort of structure my work. But if we have a look, he sent me the file, which, let's put it in the middle of here, is this very interesting, it's like an eye stand thing. So the first thing I did was to send that over. Let's make sure that you can see me while this is all going on. Yeah. So the first thing I did was sent that over to the iPad. So airdropped that over. And sure enough, it wouldn't load on Video Pencil. So that's good. Let's just demonstrate that. So if I go over to the iPad, we will see that when I go media, pick from files, and I try and load it, and well, that's weird because it's showing my desktop, so I should probably switch back to the thing. But yeah, we can see that it's this is my desktop, this is not the image. We can see that it didn't load, it's just sort of stuck. So what do I need to do? So the first thing I want to do is run this from Xcode. So this is Xcode. So this is the development tool that Apple gives you for making your apps. And you write your code in Swift generally these days, and that looks like this. And if we have a look through the code base, so all the files are over there on the left. So if we have a look and find, so I'll just do an open quickly. I think it's called Media Picker. So this is where our Media Picker lives. So it's a UI view controller representable, which is a sort of backwards compatible way of using Swift UI with a UI view controller as sort of the basic element of a functional view and controller component in Apple world. So the controller will be responsible for a view and you'll sort of give it callbacks that it can use. But this sort of lets you wrap it up in a way that you can just throw it straight into Swift UI, which looks more like, if we look for where it's used, I can just go, here's a sheet. When I click on Browsing Media Library, I pop up Media Picker. I give it a few variables that it can just use to sort of present itself. So Media Picker is a photo picker. But actually, I think if I look at this, it's it's File Picker separate. If I look at Media menu, we say we've got Browsing Files. So what does Browsing Files do? Browsing Files shows a document picker. So it's actually the document picker in this case that we're going to be looking at. But what we want to do is just run this on the iPad and just see if there's anything that comes through to the log when I try and pick that file. So I'm running, it's building. We can see up here the progress, the build progress. And then once it's run, it's installing itself on the iPad now. And I'm going to be able to look at that. I still want my Stream Deck to have a different button. I think I can get rid of the back button on my Stream Deck. I'm just going to do that quickly. Right. Oh, okay. So Video Pencil is running. I just want to be able to switch to my iPad scene. Right. So if we go to the iPad, right, we'll try the Media Picker. Pick from files. And what we're looking at here is, if I come back to the desktop, we've got this log. So this is where I put all my messages. So there may be something that comes through here when on the I pick the files. So I'm just going to do that on the iPad. So I'm just going to tap the thing now and we're going to see. Oh, okay, so here we go. Failed to associate thumbnails for picked URL. The view service did terminate with error. Error code. Disconnect method. Okay, so it's actually saying something about failed to associate thumbnails. So that's not that the file's too big or that the JPEG file is wrong. It's something a bit more sort of esoteric and Apple specific. So let's just see. So the next thing I'll do is just see if that shows up somewhere. So I could debug into it, but if I just search for that, I'm going to see, okay, iCloud Drive issue. Failed to associate drum. Well, I'm not doing document does not pick document. It looks like someone else has had this problem. Scroll down. What's this? You declared the wrong delegate method. You have did pick documents at. It should be did pick documents. Oh, controller did pick. Okay, so it looks like something esoteric and an easy mistake has been made. But actually, this looks like I'm using the right thing. Document picker did doc. So I think cancelled. So what I'm going to do here. So this is my document picker delegate. So I launched the document picker up. That shows that file menu. So this is the I can't video pencil on it because it's a video pencil thing. This is the document picker on my iPad. So if we come back to here, so I instantiate that document picker down here, make UI view controller, and I set the delegate to this context coordinator, which all sounds very complicated, but it's just a way that I can use a sort of normal objective object to get callbacks about what's happened on there. And if we have a look at here, UI document picker delegate, it conforms to NS object protocol, and it also it gets a callback when you pick the document. It gets a callback when it was cancelled, and it gets it used to get this. So this is a deprecated. So I think that's what maybe they're talking about. Anyway, so it looks like have I got did pick documents at? Yeah, that's the one I'm using. So, and usually I just go like document, see what auto completes, but you see here, like it says delegate. So, I need to avoid that one. How do we get to, so what's interesting here is generation not found. Should we just see if there's, before I just want to know, I want a bit of a clue as to what sort of area this might, generation not found. So Stack Overflow is the website that developers go to answer questions. My internet is weird today and I think it needs restarting because it should never take time to load Stack Overflow. I'm going to stay quiet so that Descript can snip this out. Okay, failed to associate thumbnails. Okay, so that's actually not an error. Interesting. So someone else here is saying you can safely ignore this message. When you import a file from iCloud, it tries to copy the thumbnail from the imported copy, but for JSON, right? Okay, well, there is a thumbnail, but so actually that's so maybe it's the view service did terminate with error. Terminated, disconnect error. Let's see if it's getting to either of these methods. So this is a breakpoint. So when I'm connected to Xcode, when I press play on here, it's now going to, whenever the code gets to this point, it's going to stop and it's going to let me poke around. So we can actually, I'm actually going to attach to the current process, debug, attach to process. Oh, it's already being debugged. So if I just pick a file again, I'm going to pick the same file again and see where we end up. Okay, so we're getting the callback. We pick the document. The URLs has one value. Looks good to me. If we urls.first. So PO, this is LLDB, so this is a debugger that lets you type things in and troubleshoot things, which sort of Apple will wrap around. So when you hover over that, Apple's basically running LLDB calls and bringing it back, and it has special preview extensions that sometimes work. We've got a file. I'm doing something a bit crude here. You can see the way like this was probably an ill-advised to figuring out if something's a video. There's a whole thing called UT, Uniform Type Identifiers, that I should probably be using, but I do have to know what media type it is. So how do I actually, let's have a look what I am doing with this. So I'm saying media type. If you are a developer, I am sort of moving towards a bit of a singleton method for my Swift UIs. A singleton design pattern. I just, like, you can set environment objects and do all this stuff within your app to pass data through and you're supposed to inject dependencies into your view hierarchies and things, but I find like an iOS app is usually a small, self-contained enough small system that you're more likely to create crashes by forgetting to pass an environment object through because sometimes it gets disconnected. So if you show an alert or a sheet, then that won't have all the environment objects anymore. You've got to like pass them through again. I find that quite awkward, and it does lead to crashes. So I'm generally sort of app state is the state of my app. So I'm taking this from Redux. Sorry if you're not a developer. This is this is like whatever. But there's just one of these app states that the whole app is looking at. And then what I've been doing more in Video Pencil Camera, I'm sort of like breaking it up into sort of different singletons that are sort of specialized to one particular area. And like in future, if I did find that I wanted to create two different hierarchies with two different view states, then it would be very easy to just delete that singleton and just make sure I'm passing it through as an environment object instead. But until that level of complexity is reached, then we just hit the singleton. So we have determined that this is an image, which is correct, and we have determined that the URL is that. But I thought I needed to make a copy of this. I thought that I had to make a copy of this file to use it. What do we get? What happens if we... So it does know it's a JPEG, but it doesn't seem to be... That's interesting. Look, we go on this JPEG, and now it's not figured it out, but it had figured out that it was a JPEG. Let's see what happens. So what happens here? Like, media URL is set, and what happens when media URL is set? Well, it clears... Let's have a look. Let's see what happens. So continuing on, I pressed play, and now it didn't make it that far, or no, because I already stepped over that. All right, let's pick it again and hopefully come to this breakpoint. Media, pick from files. There, right. So now we get clear media frame. So if it's showing a video or picture already, then it's going to clear that first. Then it's going to go. Is it a video file? So at least I've done this conforms to movie thing correctly here. So I think we should end up load image texture here. So if we step over, yes, okay, so we're doing load image texture. So we'll come in, and the way that does it goes texture loader dot new texture. So this is a metal helper. So from Metal Kit. So Metal is Apple's GPU programming system, and sort of to make it easier for you, what I've done here is there's a thing called the texture loader that can take a file from disk and turn it into something that the GPU can use, and that's what I'm doing here in the simplest way possible. And you can see like I had some color problems, so I did say .gb false, but also you see that I've just done so we've got two options when we load something. When we do something that can throw an error. So certain types of operations are sort of unpredictable because they depend on the network, they depend on the file system. You don't necessarily know what's going to happen. So you use something called a try-catch mechanism. So I try to do something, and then if what the heck happens and it goes wrong, then I can catch that error and do something with it. But there's also an option to just go, okay, if it doesn't work, then I'll get nil back and nothing will load. And that's what's happened here. So clearly some error has come up, which I have not anticipated, and it's just getting swallowed by this try. So what we need to do is probably, so see image texture, if I just look at what image texture is before and after, I'll add an expression here, self.image texture, right, so it's nil, and then after this block, it is still nil. Yeah. So what we can, I don't know if this will work, but I'm going to try not doing the question mark in the console and see if we get anything useful before I start editing this. Let's see what we get. Well, in fact, I'm going to use the exciting and aggressive version of try, which is if this fails, then just crash the whole thing. So what do we get? Right, execution. What does it say? Fatal error. Could not find resource at the specified location. Well, that's interesting. So it's not finding the file. So what I'm actually going to do here is add one little level of debuggability into this system, and so let's wrap this in a try. So let's do cat. Right. So now instead of just failing, we're going to go where at state.share.debug log. I'm going to say error loading image, and I'm going to put in error, which is automatically created. Can I go localized description? Yeah, why not? Well, I'm going to put debugged. No, I guess I only get localized description. Right, so this is now going to at least give me some information when it goes wrong that I can ask users for. So next time if something different happens, I can just say, could you just look in the logs and see what happens? So I'll show you how this, so we're going to rebuild. We're going to go over to the iPad. I'm going to have a bit of coffee. Right, we're going to try loading the source, well, not source, media, pick from files, do this again. Right, nothing, oh yeah, sorry, it's gone into my breakpoint on the thing. But now if I look into my logs, I should see error loading, unsupported image orientation. Unsupported image orientation, that's not what I saw. But yeah, I thought we couldn't find the file. And maybe the file moved? Unsupported image orientation. I'm just gonna debug into that, and let's do it again, and let's break into this and let's see if we can find any more information about this. Go see if it gives me anything. Yeah, I'm not going to do localized description. I'm just going to print out the error. Unsupported image orientation. MTK texture loader domain. Right, let's Google that. This is what we always do. We Google unsupported image orientation and just see if the internet has anything on this. And no, there's never heard of it. So, God, what does that mean then? Unsupported image. Right, let's see what options we get. See maybe if we can... Let's see what options we can give this function, because I've used one. So texture loader.option. Let's have a look. Mipmaps. Mipmaps are if you're far away from an object in 3D space, it can use a lower resolution texture. That's nothing to do with what we're doing. We're not moving around a 3D space. Texture CPU cache, a key used to specify. I did not know I could do that. That's interesting. Texture storage mode, texture usage. So this is, I haven't given it texture usage, have I? Could be quite useful to say texture usage. What does it want for that? Texture usage, number, shader, right? Unknown pixel. I am not gonna. I'm gonna just. It's fine. We don't need to optimize that. Cube layout. That's to do with some stuff, some 3D rendering stuff, I think. And then sRGB. I see nothing about orientation. Let's have a look at this file. Let's see if there's anything that we can... Where's my inspector? Where are you? Where is the inspector? I said show me the inspector, but I can't see where it's... Oh, there it is. It's behind a different inspector. Ecamm Live with your bloody floating windows. Right. Let's have a look. RGB, color model RGB, orientation, 6, 90 degrees counterclockwise. EXIF stuff, I hope I'm not going to show any JFIF. This orientation thing. Why does... Okay, so let's Google texture loader image orientation. So maybe it is this origin thing. I did see origin, I wondered. So origin, specify... when to flip the pixel No, suddenly worried about my audio. No, we're good. Yeah, we're good. Let's see if there's any other methods that we haven't tried. So we've got new texture from URL, new textures, URLs. Let's just use this drop down. New texture data. Let's add a step to this and see if we can see what happens. Let image equals image. Is there a URL? Sorry, it's UI images. UI image, name, data. Where is that? Is there not a contents of file and then URL.path? And then we're going to ignore that it wants, there's a new thing there. And then I'm going to say, use the CG image of image.cg image. If let CG image, well, can I just, I'm just going to try something here and just, if I bang unwrap this, will it end up here? Or will it just crash? I should probably know that. Extra trailing closure, right? Let's see if this runs. Sorry, I just sort of changed my mind about some indentation halfway through. Xcode's very nice at telling you what you did wrong. Well, when it works, it is anyway. Sorry, so it wants to know that there's definitely a CG image there. So I'm just force unwrapping this. So this could be nothing. I'm hoping it falls down to here if it goes wrong. I should know that. Selecting it. Oh, it didn't. Oh, look, it loaded it. Right. So, oops. So on the iPad, it has actually loaded it now. So if by putting that intermediate step in, it loaded it. But look, the orientation is wrong. I just want to know, what happens if, can I do that? Is that legitimate code? No, I'm just going to go image equals nil. I just want to know if this code is going to crash or if it's going to end up. Oh, sorry, you didn't see that. I just changed this to, I put in nil deliberately because I just want to make sure that if this goes wrong, that we end up here and not just crashing the whole app. And then I will have learned something. It's always good to learn something new every single time. Fatal error. Yeah, it's not catchable. It's a fatal error. Okay, yeah, so we mustn't do that. So what we will do, we'll go back to what I was going to do before. If let image equals that, let cg image equals image.gimage, then we're going to load in that g image. But what do I do if it doesn't work? I guess let's just log it, shall we? App state.share.log message. So this load image path image cg image. Oh no, this isn't gonna work, is it? Yeah, those don't exist. Okay, fine. Yeah. So now image orientation. Let's poke around this image. So run the app, unlock the iPad, load the picture, pick from files. Right, so we've got an image. Let's have a look at po image.image orientation. I hate this. Does it come through? Just trying to see. Okay, it's failed to decode the picture. I don't like it when. Oh yeah, okay, here we go. Look. So we can actually, within Xcode, we can sort of preview things, have a look at it. But I'm going to say gimage.orientation, because maybe this actually doesn't. Yeah, look. So I think this is almost like it's got rid of this is sort of like the CG image doesn't have any of that rotation information that sits in the UI image. So I suppose if I were to try and go image texture equals try texture loader dot new texture from image. Oh, it only gives you CG image anyway. So can we go like image texture dot orientation, or do we need to like re-render this image at the correct orientation? Let's just image is dot left. Right, so image orientation is right. So what do I do with that information? I think I just Googled to see if there's a helper method to rotate this. Rotate CG image to, what is the UI image orientation? To, well, should we say redraw CG image at correct UI image orientation? Yeah, oh, cropped image. I didn't want to do any of this stuff. I don't like that, but I like this. Rotated. Yeah, I think this is just going to reapply that image orientation, isn't it? It's just creating another. This is not what I want. Okay, I think it's probably more likely to be UI graphic image, whatever. Simply draw. Okay, yeah. So this is where we rotate in a CG image. Am I going to have to? I like. Sometimes you see this and it's like, surely I don't need to write code to do this. Why isn't texture loader doing it? Like, texture loader should be responsible for loading the image and keeping it at the correct orientation. This is not something I should have to write step-by-step code to do. And this is like, I mean, this may bite me in a minute, but this is where I think less experienced developers fall over a lot. They see a problem and they just write code to solve it instead of going, wait a minute, in the larger context, in the larger world. Oh, my Stream Deck buttons. Why did it? I thought I was copying this. This should be my face. So in the larger world, so a sort of novice developer will go, oh, I found some code, and they'll write the code and they'll copy it in, and now your project's bloated with this code that, if you just think about it, like, this seems like something that has been solved. So did you look hard enough in the SDK for something that fixes this? So the reason I haven't just stopped it, okay, I guess I've just got to rotate it myself. I may still end up doing that if I really can't find anything. But the reason that I don't just immediately jump on that code is because this is not, like, I'm not special. Like, I'm not a special, unique snowflake with, like, this is the thing. You think you're this special, unique snowflake that no one else has ever had this problem. Or if I have, then this is the... But no, like, you still got to think, when Apple was designing this SDK, was image, like, respecting the EXIF data in an image file when loading it onto a GPU, was that a duration of... I mean, of course it was. Like, because the thing just wouldn't work if it wasn't a consideration in there somehow. So I hope so anyway. And if it wasn't, then that's like, what are you doing, Apple? Like loads of people are going to be doing this exact thing. So we've got to find out, like, what is how to make this thing, how to solve this in as few lines of code properly by thinking about how much of a special snowflake we are and remembering that we're not. That's the sort of long and short of it. So I'm not just going to go, okay, this, because I could fix this problem, but I'm not really like, I'm just adding code into my app instead of finding the code that already exists and is highly optimized and is resilient to edge cases, which mine won't be, because I just like, I'm solving it for this one image, but it hasn't been tested by thousands of other developers. So I'm reluctant to even do this intermediate step to load the image. I kind of want to find out what's wrong with that image orientation, because to me, well, the fact that CG Image can see it, the fact that we know that it's managed to find this image orientation of rotated 90 degrees counterclockwise. Wait, is that right? How is that right, F? I almost wonder if this is actually, because it's a very large file that we're looking at here. Like, if you can see that, like, look at that, 3024 by 4. I mean, that, and which, that could actually be the underlying problem. Right? So it may be a bug in the framework that's sort of throwing that. Let's see if it throws the same error every time. By going back to our original thing of wait, new texture. Oh, capital URL. That's strange, isn't it? Okay, so we'll run it again. I'm just going to see if I get the same thing every single time. All right, so it's running, pick from file, load it, unsupported image orientation. Yeah, I mean, that was, I suppose that was a long shot. Unsupported image code 0. Okay, unsupported image orientation. I was going to see if, I don't think this is going to do anything. I think this is going to make the colors bad. It's going to run it again without the sRGB thing, just because I don't think it's going to be that, but I want to see what it looks like. Yeah, same thing. Okay, let's see if what we can do, if there's any option that will resolve this. So texture use, K-maps, texture storage mode, unsupported image orientation. I don't think there's any. I want to render image at my images orientation. Oh look. But this is a UI image, CG image, orientation. So, I mean, the image orientation, I want to redraw. Okay, here's a gist. I mean, image draw in. Okay, I'm looking at this. This looks like the right amount of code to me to get a. Let's try this. So it looks like the draw of UI image will do all this for us. So we should just be able to normalized image. That sounds good to me. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go into my little lib. I'm going to make a new file, and it's going to be a plain Swift file, and it's going to be UI image plus extensions. That's just going to be in there. We're just going to stick this in. I'm going to say where I got it from. Copy link address from here. We're going to go import UI kit, so that doesn't say there's no UI image. We are going to just, I don't like normalized image, but normalized sort of means it would fit between 0 and 1 to me. But I think what I want to do, okay, I will use their name. I won't spend too long. This is useful. I never do this, defer. So you always learn something new, don't you? But you also go, why do people have to make the code look bigger than it is? All right, so this extension, so what this is going to do is now I've got this .normalized image on UI image, which is that thing that I was loading here. So what I should be able to do, some of this again, like experience as a developer, is knowing what is the right amount of code for something. And again, like an inexperienced developer will end up writing a lot of code to do something that, to me, like this I can live with. Like this is sort of a bit too trivial for Apple to add a helper method, but trivial. So it's doing an image.draw in context, and then that is taking into account the rotation. And it's I'm a bit worried about this though. I suppose the size is also been transformed to match. Okay, but let's just do it. So now we're going to get the image. Is that, yeah? So that's optional. So we'll go normalized image, and then we'll convert the CG image from that, and then we'll load it. I think this is going to fix the bug. I think we're just going to be able to move on with our days. So let's I'm going to unlock the iPad. We're going to switch over and have a look. It's weird that I had to sort of insert an intermediate step to do something that, like, at least it could have loaded it at the wrong orientation, right? Like, I don't know why it had to just die, but if we go pick from files, grab it, there it is. There we go, that loaded. Why is it not letting me zoom in? Yeah, there we go. So yeah, we fixed the bug. just by drawing that image with that little bit of code with the new orientation. We didn't get sucked into any look at this, like if then, it's all lives within Apple's UI image.draw, so you don't have to do this. And also this is like out of date syntax, and I'd have had to correct it all, and then, oh look, I've got this version, and then finally someone comes along and goes, no, actually, it's just this, so just chill, everyone. And so we managed to find that comment and do it without a load of rubbish. So that is how a bug is fixed on iOS, and I'll get that up into the next build, and hopefully more people can load things. Right, so actually, before we go, let's just check, because I heard this report from somewhere else. So I'm just going to double check that the other image that I was sent also now loads. So investigate, where is it? I've lost it. Oh yeah, we got this file. Okay, yeah, so I'm just going to grab this file from another Michael who sent me, oh, it's a video. Show and finder. Okay, so let's not get too carried away because I have just, wait, show and finder? Let's put this on the desktop. All right, it's not over yet. So let's come out of here and have a look and see that we have another file that doesn't work. And I think I know why this one doesn't work, because of my, yeah, so this, can we load it? Oh God. This file isn't compatible with QuickTime Player. Does it work with Lena? Oh no. So nothing can open this file. Let me just check that, because I have seen this file working. That's weird, isn't it? 3.8 megabytes. Let me just find the other one. MRI. I love how all of these are, yeah, this one seems okay. I don't know what's going on there, but let's just, this one's okay. All right, so let me just send this, and in fact I do have this, I thought I had this on the iPad. Okay, so I've just double checked, and this does load on the iPad, so it's actually fine. Okay, so I'm just going to go ahead and say that. So I think what that problem was the in settings we've got this delete so I've got 1.4 gigabytes of temporary files. I think like I did have a bit of a bloat happening on the temporary files. What I do want to check though, that was, let's just debug into that and just check that .mov assumption, because yeah, like path extension, or yeah, like is this, let's just try, sorry, entire screen. I just want to see that, because this is not right, because this is an MP4, so there's no reason this would load. So if I just breakpoint into there and load it again. I'm picking from library this time, so actually, yeah, this is the wrong breakpoint. Oh, maybe I should try it from files? Yeah, that's what it'll be. So media picker, you sort of give it the type identifier, whereas I think probably loading it from files is what's gone wrong here. So just to clarify, like, I could just fix this code. First, though, we have to validate that it's broken. So first you need a fail, and you need a success. Otherwise, you just like changing things. You might change 3 things. You don't know what fixed it. You've got to like validate that you pick the right thing. So pick from files. How do I get that file into my files on my iPad? Maybe if I go into my photo. So if we go to, I'm just on the iPad, I'm going into photos, I'm finding that MRI thing. Where is it? Let's see if I can find it under videos. Yeah, okay, so I found it on my thing. I'm going to just share it to files, save to files. I'm going to put it in my downloads. I'm doing this off camera just because I just don't know what I'm going to dox myself. Right. Bit disappointed that I'm a bit disappointed that Video Pencil did not. Oh, there, no, it did. So there's the file. Let's load it, and of course we come in here, path extension. Let's just see po_url.path extension. This is some shoddy code. Yeah, so MP4. So it's getting the wrong type identifier. What did it get given? Copy. Yeah, public image. So that's clearly wrong. Let's see if it actually loads. Yeah, it doesn't load. It fails to load. So we have managed to reproduce that bug. Just if you don't believe me. Oh, look, it's still blank. Right, let's do this properly. Type from file name extension. Yeah, here we go. url.path extension. Let's just see what we get for that. Oh, sorry, I need to break into that. Right, so what we've actually got here, which is interesting, is this is now out of sync with what's on the iPad. We've added another line, so we're going to be off by 1 on our lines, but let's just see what we get for this. We get public MPEG 4. Okay, so let type equals... What happens when we do share media? If it conforms to movie. Okay, so let's just... So we can just literally go ut type. I love this when it's What a shoddy bit of code that was. So I'm going to rebuild that. Ooh, cannot assign value of type. Oh, so we've got to go type identifier. Okay, we're running it. We're going over to the iPad. And media, pick from files. There we go, it works. So it's no longer, once again, like that was some bad juju. Look, I'll show you. This is Git before and after. This is my changes. I can also do it like this. See, this is what it looked like before. This is what it looks like now. You can see we had like some very clunky logic in there. What if it was more of uppercase? What if it was any different file extension? Like, it wasn't going to work. I can't believe I actually that was such a bad assumption that I almost feel like I might have. No, that was just I apologize. I humbly apologize for that bug because it was pretty indefensible. I think I did it I think I was doing something else at the same time as I implemented this, and let's not think about it too much and just be excited. So one more step, grab GitHub desktop. So this is so I started from a clean slate. So that's another thing that you've got to make sure you do. Don't like make a load of changes. So here's my images that I added. Here are my fixes for document picture. Here is my hack to. I'm going to say why I did this in the code actually. Where is it? App state. I'm just going to say load image texture. Redraw rotated images before loading with texture loader to avoid the using new texture. Okay, so I've got the new file. Okay, so this is videos loaded through loading certain images and videos. Okay, we'll push. Oh, I'm on this branch. I shouldn't be on this branch. I will at least be able to. So I can see everything I've done. I can see all the changes. Here's oh look, there's the bug fix for when you dragged with 2 fingers, it would draw a line on the second screen. That's how I fixed that. Can't seem to split up. Yeah, so here's these have been some big changes to as I've been working on the look at that on the networking. You can see all the code that's taken to sort of start filling that. But sometimes you get a nice easy win. So that's what we do. That's committed, and now maybe we can put this up onto test flight. I'm just going to make sure. So the latest build on the App Store. Yeah. So let's just make this 1.0.4. Make sure the build numbers are in sync. Yeah, so Telestrator app 1.0.4. I should have bumped this before, really. And then we jump into terminal. We go cd code, Telestrator app. It's called Telestrator app because it didn't have a name. And then I go bundle exec fastlane beta. This will go up on, this will get built now and uploaded to test flight. So I hope you've enjoyed this bug fixing demonstration. Let me know if you found this interesting. Let me know if you never want to see anything like it again. I just like the idea of being able to share some of these more nerdy sides of the processes, because I mean personally I love just seeing inside the technical details of how someone works. You know, so I love seeing like Jim's is a special table with a thing and an eyeball. You know, I love seeing this kind of equipment, and even if I don't understand it, there's something sort of thrilling about kind of, I don't know, having some of the technicalities of someone's job explained. So that's why I've done that. You can see where I'm uploading. It's telling everyone my Gmail address. That's fine. So it's going to upload, and then I'm just going to have to go and share it on test flight and hope that I haven't included anything in there that's going to break with all the other stuff I've been doing before you've got the new version of Video Pencil desktop. It shouldn't though, because it really just, it's additive changes. All right, well, we don't have to watch this whole script, because what this will also do is, I'm actually going to show you this because let's, so this is called Fastlane. This goes, okay, make sure that all my changes are committed. So that was this was needed to be clean. Builds the app, it uploads it to test flight, it grabs the build number, it commits to say it's that build, it increments the build number, so it looks at the current one, increments it, and then tells me to go and sort out the result. And then Mac has a different build process. And the reason I do this is, like, you can go product archive in Xcode, but like it's a networked process that sometimes that you have to sort of press OK every so often. And so it means you got to like sit there staring at a spinner for like 5 minutes to just make sure you don't forget to upload it. So something like test flight, you can just Fastlane, I can just sort of fire it off and know, and then automate some other steps as part of that. So it's like a thing to solve some of the weaknesses of Apple's deployment system by giving you a lot more customization and control over your uploading and building and distribution, that kind of thing. I haven't managed to get it to automatically submit builds to TestFlight yet, but I have managed to get it to, so it will take the contents of release notes, not in this project, in Shoot it will. I can sort of keep my release notes updated, but I can also, when I'm writing release notes, I can look through my history and go, okay, yeah, I fixed the problems loading the images, I fixed that problem, I can mention that. None of this stuff is probably interesting to TestFlight users. Yeah, this is all. Yeah, so we have these. I can say this and this. Sorry, this in the release notes. So some people like automate all of the commits into release notes, but I think that's a bit. I think you need to like write it. So you see, look, it's now in App Store Connect. It's processing, and then in a moment, I'll get emails from every direction saying it's ready, and I can go into App Store Connect, which is Apple's platform for distributing software. Anyway, yes, I hope you enjoyed this. I think I like this Descript chopped up videos because it's a bit less obnoxious than a live stream with loads of pausing and umming and ahhing, but I can still sort of do a bit of a live, loose, long-form video without having to worry about it being too self-indulgent, I hope. So yeah, thanks for watching, and I will see you next time. Ciao.